Today's video is sponsored by the Home Depot. Today we're taking on 3 do-it-yourself garage door projects that you can do in just one day. So let's rewind to how we got here in the first place. The spring on my garage door broke, and if you've ever been around one of those and you happen to hear that sound, you'll probably be awakened for the rest of the day. Replacing a spring with tension on it didn't quite excite me, so I bit the bullet and contacted a local garage door company. So I know that if one thing broke, more things would follow. So this is a little bit of me being proactive and trying to take care of some of the things that I don't want to be a problem when I'm not ready for it. So to add to the setup I have going around my house, I decided to go with a smart garage door opener. The garage door motor that I'm taking out operates with a chain and it's loud. The new one that I'm putting in is belt driven, so it's really quiet and I'm okay with that. And everything we should need should be in this box. Let's take a look. The kit comes with everything you'll need for this swap out. One big difference is the current system uses a T-bar for the travel. The new system will use multiple tubes connected to each other. This kit comes with everything: the 2 garage door buttons, hardware pieces, new sensors, the belt to keep everything quiet, and when there's no electricity, no problem, got a battery backup, snap together rails, and of course the motor itself. But let's get started. To take out the old system, I'll begin by removing the power and disconnecting all the wires going to the sensors. Now this is not my field of expertise, so it looks like I need to remove the chain first, then detach everything from the T-bar, and then I can pull the T-bar down. After disconnecting the far side, I then disconnect the T-bar from the motor. Then I remove the motor from the mounting brackets. I was hoping that I can reuse some of the existing parts, but this wasn't one that I could reuse, so I had to remove the old bracket, install the new one, and this way the rail can be installed. And if you look close enough, this one is much slimmer than the older one. One thing you cannot see is the lumber behind this drywall. The bracket will be mounted to it with the 2 included lag bolts. Leading with the front section, snap all the tubes together to complete the rail. In the second to the last section, I dropped the screwdriver in place per the direction to stop the trolley from sliding all the way forward. After attaching the last section, insert the U-channel that attached to the motor. Next, I loosen up the bolts on the motor, this way I can attach the U-channel. And finally, I install the protection bolt. If anything goes wrong, this will prevent the garage door from slamming into the motor and destroying it. If you recall, the older motor and the chain played a key role into having a very loud garage operation. In this new setup, one of the key features to keeping this silent is by using a rubber belt. The older motor was rated at 1/2 horsepower, while the new one is rated at 1 1/4. After installing and tightening the pulley, I then raised the rail tab, which should block the trolley from going all the way forward and running into the pulley. I connected one end of the belt to the trolley. I took the other end and wrapped it around the motor and then brought that closer to the opposite end of the trolley. I then connected the threaded shaft to the trolley and the other end to the belt. With that in place, I can then put tension on the belt. This goes into greater detail in the manual, but ideally you want to loosen up this ring nut and then allow the spring to open up all the way. And after putting on the sprocket cap, it was almost time to mount this. The rail is mounted to the wall bracket above the door. And to secure this, you need to locate the clevis pin and the ring fastener. I was about to mount the motor and then I realized that the rail was a little bit shorter than the existing one. So I then modified the setup and faced the bracket the opposite direction so that it could accommodate for the new motor. As I was working, I was cleaning. So I'm not sure if I threw away the bolts for the door arm or they just didn't come in a package. I searched everywhere and I was unable to find a few bolts and nuts I needed. The next best thing was to grab a few nuts and bolts off the existing rail. When it comes to the arm, there are a number of configurations that you can set this up for to fit your garage door and needs. Luckily, I didn't have to replace this bracket. It was the same exact size as the one already on the garage door. In order to get the garage door to open up to its widest point, I had to adjust the arm later on by bringing the arm even closer to the door. Now that I have this all sorted out, I spliced the two sensor wire together in parallel with enough wire to make it over to the garage door motor. I coiled up the wires and put them back in a junction box. Then routed the wires over to the motor. I then stripped the wires and then put them into the terminal. Since the kit came with new sensors, I ripped out the old ones and then I installed these. It's a simple 2-wire circuit and they are polarity sensitive, which means you need to keep track of how the wire was spliced at the sensor. This way you can connect it correctly at the motor. I spliced the wires with small wire nuts and then used tape to wrap up the connection. There's no reason to solder these, so tuck the connection back into the wall and you should be good to go. Usually this is a low traffic area in every garage. You can also finish this off by stapling the wires to keep it neat. Just remember the two sensors need to be mounted at the same height. And for safety reasons, you'll want to keep these pretty low to the ground. To finalize all the wiring, I connected the door control and then mounted it to the wall. After completing this, I powered up the system and installed the battery backup. So this is a really great feature to the system. Something I didn't have before is having a battery backup. In the occasion you lose power, you can still open your garage door. At this point, the installation is complete and I just need to double check the sensors to ensure that they align with each other. There's also a few things that needs to happen. I need to check the up and down limits of the garage door and I'll follow the instruction in the manual to do so. It's a huge upgrade over what I had before. And all the features I wish I had before, it's all in here and then some. The system has Wi-Fi built in. This means that I can control the garage door anywhere I am. I can also see the status of the garage door and I get notified when someone opened or closed the door. And also a great addition to this is having a built-in battery backup. This also has a built-in LCD screen in it, so not only can you tell what time it is, but you can also see the temperature in the room. And probably the most handiest feature on here is the motion activated LEDs. The next thing on the list is to replace the weather strip on the bottom of the garage door. Although this may have a little bit of life left in it, there was a couple reasons why I wanted to replace this. In some areas it didn't close tight enough because the rubber seal was too flat. The other reason is the way it attached to the garage door, insects was able to get in between this and the garage door, and as you can guess, some of those would get squished. The new replacement I'll be putting in today should prevent all of that. This replacement kit comes in a tube and it's enough material on here for a single car garage, maybe two of those, and one 2-car garage. And even though I cut this with a razor, you'll want to be careful so you don't cut the rubber seal. The first thing you'll want to do is inspect the existing weather strip and identify the areas that you need to pull the screws. This screw will not be a part of the new setup, so I can go ahead and put that back right now. The existing track on the garage was one continuous piece, but the replacement track comes in multiple sections. These are easily mounted with self-tapping screws. Now, because they come in small sections, you'll simply just butt them up against each other to continue the track. I just have a standard 2-car garage door, so all I need to do here is cut off the extra and I'll have my complete track. To give you a closer look of what I'm going to do, I'll just feed the rubber strip into the track and slide that down the entire distance. I find this easiest to feed this from one end of the garage door to the opposite end. And you can get a good amount going on your own, but at some point you might need a second set of hands. To complete this installation, I pull some extra of the rubber strip to the far end, then I cut it off flush to this end of the door and pulled some back. Another update I wanted to do to the garage door is add insulation. I'll be using high impact polystyrene laminate. I work in here a lot, so my goal is to keep the temperature in here as cool as possible while blocking some of the outdoor noise. The installation of this is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is just cut the panels to size and then fit them in place. The garage door already had some sort of insulation in it, but they were very thin, and I did see opportunity to add additional insulation, so I think this can only be of benefit. All you need is a measuring tape, a straight edge, and a razor. You just need to take a few measurements, cut the panels to size, and fit them. Depending on where you're located, you may have never seen these crossbars. With these and one additional bar that sits in the center that goes into the ground and also locks into the bracket above the garage door, together these allow the doors to withstand a certain wind speed, which make the garage door hurricane rated. And the reason I'm having such a hard time to get these in the door is there is an existing one in the door which is very thin, and together these allow for a tight fit. It's been about 6 months since I've installed a mini split, and I'll give you guys an update on that in a future video. My house faces east, so the sun hit my garage door first thing in the morning. Since adding these additional panels, it has made a huge difference to the point that I don't turn the AC on all the time. At a later date, I removed the existing keypad for the garage door and installed a new one. Even if you're not doing any updates to your garage door, one thing you should always do at least every 6 months to a year is lube it up. Alright guys, so there you have it. In a day's work, you can do all 3 of these things, and I mean a very long day, but it's all possible. Something as important as the garage door that you use on a day-to-day basis, whether you're opening or you're closing it, it's really important that it's working when you need it the most. So if you ever need to update any features on your garage doors, I hope this video captures some of those to help you out in the future. If you'd like to check out more information on this video, be sure to check out the links down in the video description. And a really important feature I forgot to mention was the safety feature. If you need to close the garage from a remote location, it will set off a signal to warn anyone in the area that the garage door is about to close. And also, if there's anything blocking the sensors at the bottom of the door will not close. Alright guys, so that is it for this one. I will catch you in the next project video. So if you're new here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.